Hi, and welcome to the module on sleep. In this module, you're going to find out why sleep is important, what happens when you miss out on sleep, and how you can improve your sleep and get more of it. So what is sleep and how does it work? Sleep has two parts. One is non-rapid eye movement or non-REM sleep. The other is REM sleep, rapid eye movement. During non-REM sleep is mainly when your body takes care of physical repair and tissue building, and during REM sleep is usually when your body takes care of things like cognitive function and dreaming and learning and making memories. Each night you'll go through about 5 cycles of going from non-REM to REM and back again. Each cycle lasts about 90 minutes, but more towards the beginning of the night, more of your sleep is dedicated to non-REM sleep, and then closer to the end of the night, more of your sleep is dedicated to REM sleep. This is going to be important later. So, what happens when you don't get enough sleep? Well, first, if you're in a calorie deficit, if you're dieting, you're going to be losing more muscle and less fat than if you were to get enough sleep, where you'll lose way less muscle and way more fat. This is because your body's not able to make the repairs it needs to make. So the muscle that you might have broken down during the day isn't getting fixed. Another problem is that if you don't sleep enough, your athletic performance of all kinds is worse. You're weaker, you have worse endurance, you're less explosive, you can't get as many reps if you're working out. All of these things go right to hell if you haven't got enough sleep. Another problem is that your cognitive ability gets worse. In the short term, not sleeping for 16 hours straight leaves you with the same cognitive function as someone who's just at the legal limit for alcohol consumption and therefore unable to get behind the wheel. In the long term, it leads to an increased likelihood of Alzheimer's disease and dementia in general. There's also an increase in the likelihood of cardiovascular disease, and like we talked about earlier, you're more likely to get overweight. Remember how we talked about how more non-REM sleep happens at the end of the night as opposed to the beginning? This also means that if you're trying to learn something new and you're not sleeping enough, you're not learning it as effectively. And if you do this over a long period of time, then you're going to not learn effectively for many, many nights, and therefore you're basically making yourself dumber. Your body puts the sleep for body repair in the beginning instead of at the end, probably because survival is more important than learning new things. Okay, enough fear mongering. So how do you get better sleep and how do you get more sleep? First, you want to try to have a set wake time and sleep time. I understand that if you're a new dad, that's going to be almost impossible. You're going to be up at all hours at the child's whims. Do the best you can. If you can't, it's not the end of the world for several months. For the rest of us, try to get the same sleep and wake times every day. Next, you want to avoid caffeine within 8 hours of bedtime, which means if you go to bed at 11, stop drinking coffee by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, this shouldn't be terribly difficult, but it's worth noting. Some people do a better job of processing caffeine and can have it out of their system faster than others. You know who you are. Another important one is to avoid screens within at least a half an hour of bedtime. No TVs, no phones, no laptops. Anything that's a screen that shoots light at your face is something you don't want to have when you're about to go to bed. The reasoning behind this is that melatonin, which is the chemical in your brain that says it's dark, gets released when the blue light stops entering your eyes. If you're constantly shooting blue light in your eyes till the moment you lie down in bed, it's going to take longer to go to bed. So to get ahead of it, you just cut out screens within a half hour to an hour of bedtime, and you should be fine. Another thing, try to find something relaxing to do leading up to bedtime. This isn't the time to be playing Call of Duty or running around with your friends. This is the time to start mellowing out, either hang out with your wife, read a book. I have one friend who's a musician. He likes to play the piano, and that sends him right to bed afterwards. To help you get better sleep, make sure that your room is cool enough and as dark as you can get it. Cool enough means that you don't feel cold, but you're also not sweating. You want to be somewhere in that nice, comfy range. And then as far as staying dark, blackout curtains are an option. Keeping all your light emitting things away from the bedroom are another. All of this tells your body that it's time to go to bed and it's time to get some sleep. Last but not least, try to avoid alcohol and cannabis. Now, I know a nightcap or an edible makes you feel like you're getting better sleep and puts you out quicker. Yes, it does put you out quicker. That's true. The problem is that both of those things get in the way of REM sleep. So you are sleeping more, but the quality of your sleep isn't as good, especially for REM, which means you're not learning as well as you could, and your cognitive function is not getting repaired as well as it should. So if you're going to have alcohol or cannabis, it's best to do it 3 or 4 hours away from bedtime. This gives it a chance to get out of your system for the most part, and it won't be interfering with your REM sleep by the time it gets fully processed.